Morning. Thank you, ma'am. This is Deepak Ajwani from the Economic Times, India. You've had kind words for India and you've called it an efficient growth engine, thanks to the reforms put out recently. India wants to do much more and contribute to the global economy. But just when India and Asia wants to contribute, the world is clamping down. Multilateral trade is under question. What is the solution for this? Because if the advanced economies want to stop trade and let the emerging markets not grow further, how will the global economy pan out from here? Should they be more generous and have more emerging market countries grow and contribute? What kind of reforms should India adopt? And what kind of geopolitical relationships should it develop so that this imbroglio goes away?
Excellent question. So India is one of the fastest growing economies, and given its size, it contributes to global growth substantially. India is where it is because it has pursued very significant reforms. Tax reform, investing in infrastructure, digital infrastructure, but also roads, connectivity in the country. And that has injected this growth potential. Now, indeed, there is a significant change. The largest economy in the world has chosen to use tariffs as an instrument in relations with partners. Here is the interesting fact today. The rest of the world has not followed so far, and I want to put the emphasis on so far. Out of 191 members of the IMF, we have seen only 3 moving more forcefully on tariffs. Of course, first the United States, China, and to a certain degree, although there have been significant adjustments, Canada. 188 countries said, thank you, but no thank you. We prefer to continue to trade on most, what was the term? Most favored nation rules. And we are encouraging countries to please do that because unless you are very large, relatively close economy, and India is not, it's an open economy, it doesn't work well for you. We also are seeing a very interesting phenomenon, and it is the increase in regional trade integration. And actually, the ambition for regional trade integration is growing in many places. In Gulf Cooperation Council, in ASEAN, we see in Central Asia more interest to trade. And I think for India, that takes me to what can India do? One, India itself can aim for a higher degree of trade integration with partners. India has still maintained some barriers to trade. There are tariffs that India imposes. There are some restrictions. And it is good to think about where do we want to go? Do we want to go in a direction of maintaining and increasing these restrictions, or we want to go the other way, integrate? And if I take the relations with the EU, the signal seems to be, yes, we want to trade with others, we want to have more openness. The second thing India can do is just to continue doing what it has worked for it, pursue reforms. There is a lot that can be done in education, increasing skills capabilities, reforming sectors, to open them up for more private sector initiative. India does have space for smart regulation to move, self-inflicted injuries, get them out of the way. And I think the strategic direction of India, look at the future sources of growth. Where is the economy, the world economy, likely to go next? Demonstrably, the International Solar Alliance is a signal that India is thinking of that pursuit of opportunities.
All right, let's go second row, man with the yellow lanyard. Yep, right there.
Hello, Jeremy Warner from the Daily Telegraph in London. We've seen a significant rise in term premia of late, particularly in the UK, but also globally. Is this now the new normal? Indeed, they've returned really to the sort of levels we saw before the global financial crisis. So is this the new normal? And if so, what are the implications of that, particularly for countries with high sovereign debt?
Well, this is why we are so loud in our call for fiscal consolidation and reducing debt levels across the world, because we should not be surprised if you look at the current debt composition. Big chunk of it was accumulated when interest rates were close to zero. Well, there is a moment when you need to refinance. You're refinancing in a different environment. Demand for refinancing and also access to financing is quite high. If you look at the one of the reasons why the world economy is doing relatively well, it is easy financial conditions. Even frontier markets are able to borrow at not the highest cost. But when you look at the longer term, then you see what? You see the reflection of uncertainty. Okay, I'm going to lend you money. You're going to pay me 10, 15 years from now. You need to pay me a little bit of premium because of this uncertainty. So I think you're right to put it in a sense that this is not a blip. This is more likely a trend towards somewhat higher reward for especially longer term. But if government, let me put this again, if governments bring their debt levels decisively down in a medium term, not only that, if they signal they're doing it, and in this sense, the UK is doing the right thing. They're signaling that they have a growth vision, but they also have fiscal responsibility. So you signal, and then the markets are going to be kinder to you.